Yes, good evening and welcome back to the Football Tribe UG channel. Robert Kesankos is your usual suspect. Welcome back to yet another live broadcast on your favorite football updates channel. It's a Tuesday late evening or night, and it's good to be back. I know it's a good morning to some of our people down in USA. Hi, Bruno. Uh, Good to have you back on the broadcast. Kindly like the broadcast. It's a pleasure to always have you. How has been your day? Please do let us know. Dan, how has been your day, your Tuesday? What time is it that side? You know, but it's a pleasure to have you. It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast once again. LFC, hi LFC. Good to have you back. How has been your day? Hope all of you guys are doing well. Hope all of you guys are doing good. Otherwise, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you back on the channel because like the case like the norm always is, there's plenty for us to discuss once again tonight, and we will be getting into it. LFC, my day is going really well. Okay, when you say your day is going really well, it makes me feel like it's still daytime on your side. Is that the case, or are you approaching the late evening? Is it afternoon? Is it early morning? I know for our colleagues in the USA, it could be, it could be anywhere between early morning and mid morning, depending on what state that or what side of the Atlantic you may find yourself, the Atlantic or the Pacific, whichever it is, or whichever it may be. Anyways, allow me to have our audios tested before we get into the thick of the conversation tonight, because tonight there's plenty for us to discuss. We're going to be speaking about Viktor Gyokeres' move to Arsenal, Granit Xhaka, who wants a Premier League return, Yoane Wissa, and Newcastle have had a bid rejected in the in line with their pursuit for Yoane Wissa. Then there's plenty more to discuss, a lot more to discuss really, because things have been happening thick and fast throughout the course of today. So much so that we had to do an impromptu video. I don't know if any of you has been able to check it out down on the channel. That video talking a little bit. It's a very short video, about 7 minutes, talking about Viktor Gyokeres. So for those of you that are just joining us, my name is Robert Kesakos, and I'm coming to you live from Kampala, Uganda. It's 25 minutes past the hour of 11 p.m. and it's good to be back here with you. Kindly like the broadcast, but also consider subscribing to the channel and help your boy to 2,000 subscribers there. So it's a Uganda-France connection with LFC there. Always a pleasure to do this with you, my brother. And I think we won't waste people's time. We will get things started from the hottest topic of the day. It may not be the hottest, depending on where your allegiances lie, because if you're a Liverpool fan, then Hugo Ekitike remains the hottest topic of the day, having made the trip to the UK to complete his medicals and things of that regard. But let me say I'll go with the more dominant story of the day. And the reason as to why it's dominant is because of sort of the weight that has been there for the last couple of days. In fact, a week and a half until this news was broken today. So in that sort of context, allow me to start things off with us too, where Viktor Gyokeres and is on the verge of completing that move to Arsenal. Earlier on today, David Ornstein broke it. You know, he's that kind of guy that tends to stay silent amidst a storm of multiple sorts of informations regarding the deal, and then he just swoops in quite smoothly with an exclusive. And today he did just pretty much the same to say that Arsenal and Sporting Lisbon were on the verge of a total agreement for Viktor Gyokeres. We all know the guaranteed fees is 63.5 million euros plus 10 million euros in expected add-ons already struck, but add-ons and needed work now finishing touches, conclusion imminent. A Sporting CP striker wanted Arsenal only 5-year contract ready. So, and again, the beauty that it was for me reading this particular statement or this particular story from David Ornstein is it directly spoke to what we have been discussing in the last couple of days, that the negotiations remain advanced between Arsenal and Sporting Lisbon, but they were still ironing out the details when it came to those add-ons. And yeah, basically that's what was, holding match, or sort of causing the bit of delay in terms of fast tracking the move to completion, because what we had in the two previous Sundays is that the first Sunday we had, that the player had reached personal terms, an agreement on personal terms with Arsenal. Then the subsequent Sunday, that was the day after, the Sporting Lisbon president, Francisco Varendas, had issued a statement regarding regarding Viktor Gyokeres, in regards to how he was going to be penalized, having forfeited his date to return to the club for training, for pre-season training, and that he will have to apologize to the rest of the squad and that kind of thing. And then the very following day, which was a Sunday, it was spoken that Arsenal and Sporting Lisbon had reached an agreement on the transfer for Viktor Gyokeres. Now, that was, I think, the Sunday of July 6th. So we sort of had to, no, July 13th, actually. So we basically waited for last weekend, hoping that maybe the weekend is always the charm for this Viktor Gyokeres deal, that there could be some, major news, and it just never came to pass, even yesterday until today. What we continued to be fed was that whole sort of speculation on regards to how, there were still some difficulties on reaching a total agreement because of negotiations that were not going in the right direction when it came to particular add-ons. And pretty much, David Ornstein confirms that while a deal had already been struck, add-ons needed work. And now, so that work has almost been done. Last I checked, that was from Ben Jacobs. He was telling us that everything is on course for this deal to be wrapped up. In fact, the hand of Arsenal did reveal that Sporting Lisbon and Arsenal were exchanging papers or paperwork or documents to try and complete this deal. He said, and I quote, Arsenal and Sporting now exchanging final documents for the transfer of Viktor Gyokeres. Arsenal's logistics team are preparing his medical. The Swede is on standby. Gyokeres adamant he wants to be part of the preseason, followed strict individual training plan. So that's basically part of what we had said. And again, we had brought this news to you that apparently Arsenal had sent a specialized training plan to Viktor Gyokeres to do his personal training, do training alone. And it sort of reminded me that period during the COVID-19, when football was put on a halt out of the blue or impromptu, and players had to go back home and they had to stay home for a period that was yet to be determined. So eventually, what we started having was clubs designing training plans for their players to try and keep them fit, because we did not know when football was going to resume. It could be 10 days later, it could be 3 weeks later, it could be fewer days. We just didn't know, because the pandemic, as had been, was sort of disrupting every little occasion that there was. So clubs needed to ensure that by the time their players return, they were still fit, or they were still fit to play, and they issued out personal or individual training plans. And basically, that's what apparently Viktor Gyokeres had been served by the Arsenal camp. I do not know if what permutations are there in regards to player regulations when a player is still contracted by another club, and yet they could be receiving training plans from another club. I do not know if that breaks any rules or chain of custody whatsoever in regards to professionalism, but that's what we reported on. So those details have been ironed out, and the deal is expected. The deal is expected to be finalized in the coming days, maybe tomorrow, maybe by Thursday. So we just have to wait it out and see. Like we also reported previously, Arsenal have already prepared a 5-year contract for the 27-year-old to, ink on as soon as he joins the club. So all we are waiting for is Sporting Lisbon to give the player the green light to, to travel to the UK or to London to undergo his medicals, and formalities will be done. And to that respect, this is according to Ben Jacobs. He did say Gyokeres' permission to undergo a medical is expected within 24 hours. So maybe in the next 24 hours, the player could be permitted to travel for his medicals. Now, somebody asked me on a different forum what they mean by this thing of permitting a player to travel for medicals. So basically what happens is that once clubs exchange these documents, somebody needs to read them. They need to peruse through them. They need to go through them with a fine tooth comb and make sure everything that they negotiated or discussed checks out. And things of that nature. So once those documents are confirmed that everything is as has been stated, then usually that's at the stage when the player is given the green light to travel for his medicals. Now, at that point, I'm led to believe that the final ink between the clubs is not yet inked on, because the player has to pass their medicals. If they fail to pass their medicals, then they are shipped back to their parent club. So until they pass their medicals and then they go on to sign their contracts, then the two clubs also seal that deal. Of course, payments I think have happened, in between during that course. So that's basically what Viktor Gyokeres is expected to go through in the next 24 to 48 hours. Then also, like I echoed, apparently the player is desperate to join the Arsenal camp doing their pre-season tour in Asia. Remember, they did fly out to Singapore. That was, I think, on Saturday after their game against Watford. So they flew out to Singapore, and tomorrow they will be in action against AC Milan for their first official pre-season friendly game against AC Milan in Singapore. Then while still there, they will play another game against Newcastle. That game will come on Sunday. I think Sunday, July the 27th. Then after that, they will fly out to Hong Kong, where Liverpool currently are. And while in Hong Kong, they'll play a game against Tottenham Hotspur. That will come on July the 31st. So that's their Asian tour and the plan. Of course, while at it, Arsenal did unveil their, second hour kit. I do not know what your views are on that, but that's just a by the way. So the player is really intent on joining Arsenal on that training camp. The other player that flew out today to join the same camp was Christian Mosquera. Remember, he had been left back in the UK because his paperwork needed some details to iron out before everything would be finalized. Usually, a player has to attain a work permit and things of that nature. So eventually everything got worked out and he got to fly out today. He took an independent flight. By that I mean he used this commercial flights and not the way teams usually fly out as a group, to board one plane and go. So he flew out there to join the rest of the squad. So Viktor Gyokeres is hoping for the same kind of arrangement, that his deal gets wrapped up really, really fast, and then he can join the rest of the squad in Asia for their pre-season. So, I mean, in regards to the player himself, what Arsenal are getting, I think they are getting a very, very good player. They are getting a player that is hungry for success, that is hungry in terms of wanting to prove the rest of the world that just because he hacked it in the Portuguese league, which you regard to be a lesser league, does not mean he will fail to hack it in a bigger league, which the Premier League that it is. So he has a lot to prove. Aldana Ross says hola negro jaja. I don't know what that means, but hola, I think hola means hello to you. Hello to you too. Good to have you on the broadcast. Aldana Ross. I hope I'm pronouncing your name rightly. Oh, sorry, Aldana Rosas. I hope I pronounced that well. But good to have you on the podcast. So kindly leave a like on the podcast. Anyways, so in terms of the quality of the player they are getting, when it comes to his numbers, I do not think any player compares to those numbers in the last two campaigns, because he played at Sporting Lisbon. He played a total of 102 games for them and scored 97 goals, provided 28 assists across all competitions. Last season alone, he scored 54 goals in 52 matches played. In the league alone, he scored 39 goals, I think, in 33 appearances. So his return on goals has been really, really immaculate over the last two seasons. He has been in the Premier League before with Brighton and Hove Albion. That was 2021, before he left to join Coventry City in a deal worth £1 million. Excuse me. That deal was worth £1 million when Viktor Gyokeres joined Coventry City in 2021. And after 2 seasons, he had impressed well enough, because I think his first campaign he scored 18 goals, and then the second he scored 22 goals. He caught the eye of Ruben Amorim at Sporting City, and they took him for a deal that was worth £17 million. And now 2 seasons later, he is making a return to the Premier League. He told all potential suitors from the Saudi Pro League, from the Premier League itself, Man United being mentioned as one of those, he told them that he only wanted one move, and that was Arsenal. Similar way, the way Brian Mbeumo told all his potential suitors in Arsenal, Tottenham, Newcastle, and all the others, that he was only interested in a Manchester United move. So that is similar to that. During the course of negotiations for the last 1 week or so, on two different occasions, the player had been offered to Manchester United to try and woo that deal away. Deja Beruli, good to have you on the broadcast. Hello to you too. How has been your day? Kindly leave us a like on the broadcast, but also please consider subscribing to the channel, seeing that you're new here with us, and help support our Footballtribeug towards the objective of reaching 2,000 subscribers. So thank you so much for sparing the minute to be with us. What are you from? You mean, where am I from? I'm from Kampala, Uganda. Thanks for asking. Uganda is a small landlocked country in the eastern part of Africa, so that's where I am from. That's where I'm coming to you live this night, because it's 11:40 p.m. Down here in Kampala. Anyways, so in terms of the player quality, we've seen what his goals are, what his capabilities are. What we are waiting for is how he fits into that Arsenal team, how teammates are going to relate to him, because we know that in the absence of an outright number 9 or striker, the way they've been playing may sort of have to shift a bit. For example, oftentimes made this reference when Sir Alex Ferguson signed Robin van Persie from Arsenal in 2012. He sat down his squad, and Wayne Rooney inclusive at the time, and he told them, guys, I do not care who you are. The moment you get that ball, pass it to Robin van Persie. Pass it to Robin van Persie. He is the one that is going to get us the goals that will get us over the line, and he did just that. Deja, where are you from? Where are you joining us from? So he basically did that. And for those of you that do remember, you remember that game against Aston Villa, that I think Man United won that game by 2-1. Wayne Rooney playing a very long pass to find Robin van Persie, and without controlling the ball, he just took it on the half volley and scored a brilliant goal. So really, Deja, please accept my sincere apologies. I'm not very good at reading all flags. You say you're from Kosovo. Wow. Okay. Good. You're the first person we have on the channel from Kosovo. So please kindly consider subscribing to the channel. So in the same way, I'm trying to think about it, trying to think of it, and wondering how Mikel Arteta is going to put his message across, and what that message will be. But my expectation would be that he tells the likes of Martin Odegaard, the likes of Bukayo Saka, the likes of Gabriel Martinelli and whoever else is in that cohort of the starting mold, is that is that we now have an outright striker. If there's the opportunity is there, please pass him the ball and let him do the magic. Let's give him a chance to succeed, but also without sort of taking away their individual brilliance, without taking away their moments of them scoring the goals, because we know Bukayo Saka is capable of taking on players by himself and then going for that shot in the bottom corner, in the top corner, and whatever it may be. And then we know Gabriel Martinelli is capable of popping up with that kind of moments. Samuel Leandro Trossard is. And then once in a while, you'll have Martin Odegaard, arrive in the box, receive that cutback, and, sort of try to pin that ball into the bottom corner or into the back of the net. Then, of course, what it means in this case also is Mikel Merino is as good as done as being a first nine. He gets to get back into his role in midfield. Oh, you say you're from Albania. Okay, Albania. So Kosovo is like the place, the city, and then Albania being the country. Okay, is that right? I know Albania is a country. That I know for a fact. Agafonov from Russia is back with us. Hello to you too, my brother. Kindly like the broadcast, and it's always a pleasure to have you back. Dija, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. I much appreciated, my brother. Thank you for supporting. The name of the channel is Footballtribeug. Rotho Philip, I now sleep. Today I'm from Uganda. Hi Philip. I'm trying to read your first name. Rotho Ngeyo Philip. Good to have you on the broadcast. He's a fellow Ugandan joining us. I'll now sleep today. I'm from Uganda. It's okay. Anyway, Philip, what part of Uganda are you joining us from? Kindly like the broadcast, but also consider subscribing to the channel that I'm seeing you here for the very first time, Philip. Thank you so much. So, essentially, that's everything to do with Viktor Gyokeres. Arsenal are looking to get this over the line, and the expectation that it will be completed sooner rather than later, pretty much like we had mentioned in the morning, because we spoke about him being offered to Man United, which he turned down. I told those Sporting Lisbon agents that he didn't want any other move other than Manchester United. Sorry, other than Arsenal. So I look at this as a marquee signing for this Arsenal side, because I believe it's going to it adds to them a very, very important missing piece of their puzzle that they've lacked for the last 2 seasons. Even though they've been scoring the goals, last season, at the start of last season, for those of you that have been historically part of this channel, will know for the fact that when I was making my season table predictions, I said Arsenal would finish second. And one of my reasons is because they had failed to sign a striker, because I felt that they needed a striker to become the difference in some of the games that they were going to play. The player that decides a match, the player that decides between a loss and getting a point, a player that decides between walking away with a point and walking away with all maximum points. And we saw Arsenal do, I think, 14 games throughout the course of last season, and those many draws are what really cost Arsenal the Premier League title. Because when you look at the loss tally, they did not lose plenty of games. I think they lost against FC Bournemouth, they lost home and away, they lost a game against Newcastle. Then which other game? They lost to West Ham United, that was in February by a goal to nil. Then which other game? I struggle to sort of remember, but at least those are the ones that do come quickly off head. So Philip says this has been the longest delaying transfer ever. I'm live in Kampala. Okay. Philip is also live in Kampala. What club do I like? That's a question. Whoever is going to face us, kindly come with a sack for collecting goals. Viktor Gyokeres is finally here and ready to serve. That's a few. Then my club is KF Shkendida and Newcastle. Okay, I think the first one is a local club. Hi Nova bro, Sorry, hi Nova bro, good to have you. Good to have you back on the broadcast. I think the first club that you mentioned, Deja, is a local club, which is good. It's not known to me, so apologies on that. I'll try and check it out later. If yeah, I'll try and check it out after the broadcast. Then you say you're a Newcastle fan. I think you're either the first or second person to join us on the channel who is a Newcastle fan. And do give me your opinions on Newcastle and their continued failed pursuits for some of their failed targets, because we know they've missed out on a good number of their primary targets like Brian Mbomo, Liam Delap, Joao Pedro. They are on the verge of missing out on James Trafford, the goalkeeper from Burnley, and then they are also pursuing a deal for Yoane Wissa, who we're going to speak about in just a bit. Have a nice day. I got to go now. Thank you so much, Nova Bro, for sparing the moment. Our first game, Arsenal 4, Man United 0. That's Philip predicting. So, anyways, like I said, in the context of the player himself, those are my views. That's my expectation. I wait to see how he's going to fit within that Arsenal mold. There have been reports, and this was from some credible sources, that apparently Mikel Arteta may be inclined to stick with his usual suspect in Kai Havertz as the starting player up front. But let's see how Viktor Gyokeres imposes himself on this Arsenal team and what he can be capable, what he can deliver to convince the manager that you do not need Kai Havertz for as long as I'm fit. We know he's very physical. He's quite very athletic. He doesn't easily get bullied by defenders. Physically, I think he has the capability to go toe to toe with any player. And also, given that he's going to be playing or training with the likes of William Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, some of whom we know to be some of the strongest and best defenders in the Premier League itself, I think that will give him a bit of an advantage in terms of testing his abilities on how he is going to face the rest of the Premier League defenders, the likes of Mark Tehey, Ibrahim Konate at Liverpool, and Virgil van Dijk, Harry Maguire, Lenny Yoro, Lisandro Martinez. Hi, Jonas. Good to have you back on the channel. It's a pleasure to have you. So have a lovely night, bro. I'm extremely happy now. Thank you so much, Phil, for sparing the moment to be with us and for the minutes you dedicated to join us for this broadcast. We do this every single night, starting at 11 p.m., but also in the morning, we have a morning broadcast that starts anywhere between, usually at 9 a.m. That's when it does kick off. So endeavor to join us on those broadcasts, future broadcasts as well. So I think with that component of training, defenders, the likes of Jakub Kiwior, Ricardo Carafiori, Miles Lewis Kelly, Ewan Timber, Ben White, he will have a very, very good test on what it means facing Premier League defenders. He's faced them before in the UEFA Champions League. He faced this Arsenal side, and then he failed to score against them. I think that was when was that? When they lost by 5-1 during the group stage of the UEFA Champions League. Then he's faced Manchester City before and scored a hat-trick against them. So that means he's faced already some Premier League players. Gyokeres going to Arsenal? Yes, Gyokeres is destined for a move to Arsenal. Things are within the expectation, according to Ben Jacobs, is that within the next 24 hours, the player will be given the green light to travel to London to undergo his medicals ahead of completing that move to the Gunners. And the expectation is that if he can get that done before maybe Friday or maybe even Thursday, then he will fly out and meet the rest of the Arsenal squad on their Asian tour there. It may proceed even until the weekend, but that is the expectation. Site says a goodie, a goodie, guri. What I do not know what language you type in there, but thank you for your message. Forgive my language barrier, but I did not understand that message. But thank you for your feedback. Jonas says, "Let's go." Well, yeah, indeed. So, anyways, guys, okay. Deja asked about my club, guys. Before anything to do with club football, I just love football in general. So That's my first love. Two, I do support Arsenal. I do support Real Madrid. So just to get that out of the way. But because it is football, the football that comes first, that's why I can afford myself the objectivity to come here and discuss Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Newcastle, or whichever team that may be the topic of the day. So anyways, I think it's been 30 minutes discussing Viktor Gyokeres. Guys, let's move on. Let's move on to other, other reports in as far as the transfers window is concerned, because news is being making the ones throughout the day. Now, this is today we learned that Granit Xhaka has told his bosses at Bayer Leverkusen that he only wants a move to Sunderland. Now, this is a little bit surprising in a way. Not too surprising, but a little bit surprising. Why? Because Bayer Leverkusen, first of all, a very good team. I think they finished second on the Bundesliga log last season. They are in the UEFA Champions League. Now, we know that players are always literally desperate or anxious or eager to play in the UEFA Champions League. It's an attractive factor. That's how Chelsea were able to, woo away Liam Delap from literally the grasp of Manchester United, because they have UEFA Champions League football and that kind of thing. So why would Granit Xhaka be leaving a club like Bayer Leverkusen to come and play for Sunderland, who are only promoted, last season, and could face relegation, could be among the teams that will fight against relegation during the course of the season? Is it the money, or is it just the love for the Premier League? I would want to believe it's the latter, because he's been in the UK. He loved his time there. Yes, at some point it sort of went sour during, I think that was around, was it around 2018 when he was bought by Arsenal fans in that game against Crystal Palace at the Emirates. He was withdrawn. He took off his shirt and walked down straight the tunnel. He was captain at the time. He was stripped of his captaincy. That was during the time of Unai Emery as the Arsenal manager at the time. So, and then when Mikel Arteta walks into the door, that was in 2019. December 2019, the player wanted to leave the club at that stage. Mikel Arteta managed to convince him to stay, and after he convinced him, he was rejuvenated. He was a much better and more improved player. And in his final season at Arsenal, that was 2020-2023. We remember him, being very pivotal that season, scoring against Manchester United, scoring against Tottenham Hotspurs. He scored a brace against Wolverhampton Wanderers, I think, on the closing day of that season, and things of that nature. So then, of course, he went to the German Bundesliga to play for Xabi Alonso, and they won the German Bundesliga in his first season, 2023-2024, and then, of course, won also the DFB Pokal. Last season, of course, they fell short on winning trophies, but they did well to finish second, which was quite commendable. But there's a whole host of clubs that are interested in his services, including AC Milan in the Italian Serie A, as well as Nayom SC in the Saudi Pro League. However, he has told his bosses that the only place he wants to play is Sunderland. That's where he wants to move. He wants, he relishes the return back to the Premier League. So talks continue between the two clubs. That's between Sunderland and Bayer Leverkusen to find, an agreement on the transfer fee. Their initial attempts were, rebuffed because they did not meet apparently the valuation of the player. But this is what we got today from Granit Xhaka's agent, Jose Nogueira. And Nogueira said, "We have agreed terms with Sunderland. Granit wishes to move back to the English Premier League. It is an exciting new challenge for him." So there you have it. For those of you that have any doubts on whether indeed Granit Xhaka could return to the Premier League. Now, remember, if it were to be about simply the money, then Saudi Pro League club, that's Nayom SC, are capable of paying more money than Sunderland. I remember Alexander Lacazette has just joined that same side. Then when it comes to AC Milan, is a historical European giant who did want to play for that kind of club. But somehow he is convinced that he wants to have another test of the Premier League. So let's wait and see how that deal will transpire. Then today also, Hugo Ekitike was in London finalizing his Liverpool move. He's expected to put pen to paper on a 6-year contract, and he will then fly out to Hong Kong, that's in Asia, to meet with the rest of the Liverpool squad, where they are camping. They are camped in Hong Kong. And by the way, among the games, the pre-season friendly games that they are going to play while there, AC Milan is one of those. They will play AC Milan. They will play against Yokohama FM among those games during their Asian tour. Then also, the other news today is regarding Brian Mbeumo. After being officially unveiled as a new Manchester United player yesterday, today he had his first training session as a Manchester United player. Like I said, he's going to be donning the jersey number or the shirt number 19. So very, very a good addition to this Manchester United side. We're talking about a player who joined Brentford from, was it Toulouse? Was it Toulouse? No, he joined Brentford from Troyes. Yes, he joined Brentford from Troyes. That's in France. And then during his 6 years at Brentford, he managed a combined total of 70 goals across all competitions and 50 assists. So we are talking about a player that is very, very capable of scoring goals as well as providing them. Last season was his best season in a Brentford jersey in as far as the Premier League is concerned, because he scored 20 goals and provided 7 assists. So that means that Manchester United have added 2 number 10s to their ranks. Now, the difference with these number 10s is that they're very versatile, especially when you look at Brian Mbeumo. He's previously played as a wing back. He can play off that right wing. He can play as, behind the striker as a 10, or in a partnership with the striker in, let's say, if you're playing the 4-4-2 kind of system, he's capable of all that. He's capable of providing the goals as well as scoring them, but also he's quite very athletic when it comes to, pressing down on the ball, pressing an opponent to win the ball back, running back and forth. He has that engine in him to do those ones. Then Matthias Cunha is the other addition. So for me, what still begs the question is whether Joshua Zirkzee, who is also essentially more of a 10 than a typical 9, will have where he will play this season. Excuse me. And then the other player is Bruno Fernandes, who is the Manchester United captain. And for very many, hours, I've dedicated myself to thinking through this Manchester United system, the way Ruben Amorim wants to play with the back three and, the wing backs. I've struggled to sort of figure out how you fit all these players in, and I'll first wait to see it and whether it will work. Because sometimes when you have so many players that are sort of similar in roles in the same team, one is bound to sort of be shut down in terms of their addition to the team. And yet I feel that when you play Bruno Fernandes as a midfielder, a central midfielder, in that kind of number 8 role, alongside the deep lying midfielder like Casemiro, Ugarte, or Kobe Maino, depending on who you may send out as your soldier to play that role, he's not really thrived at it. So I wait to be convinced otherwise whether he is capable or how Ruben Amorim will sort of operate his team. Then Manchester United also want to sign a striker. So after landing Brian Mbeumo, they are in the market for a striker. Who will it be for Manchester United? Excuse me. So is it going to be Benjamin Sesko? Is it going to be Oli Watkins? Is it going to be Nicholas Jackson? Will it be Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Will it be Moises Kean? Who is that striker going to be? Because reports do suggest that Ruben Amorim would prefer a Premier League proven striker, and among the very top options is Oli Watkins and Nicholas Jackson. So for me, if it boils down to those two, I would urge Man United to take Oli Watkins because he is more experienced in as far as the Premier League is concerned. He is overall all round a much better player as compared to Nicholas Jackson. If it boils down to a decision of those two, if it is not between those two, then Nicholas Jackson would suffice. And, and for those of you that would want my full opinion regarding Nicholas Jackson and why I feel you should join Manchester United, do go to the channel, go under the video section and check out why I think Man United should sign Nicholas Jackson. I know many United fans have disagreed with me on that, but they've disagreed with me on that, but I felt majority who disagreed with me lacked the objectivity that it takes for you to look at it and go to such a conclusion that Man United should really consider signing Nicholas Jackson. Then also, Yoane Wissa. Now, Yoane Wissa is a player that is being targeted by Newcastle. We spoke about Yoane Wissa, I think, last week when Newcastle had their bid turned down for Hugo Ekitike, and then Liverpool swooped in, and then Newcastle subsequently cooled down their interest. Where's our Newcastle fan? Dija is a Newcastle fan there. So, Dija, I don't know if you're still with us, but I would be interested in knowing who is your favorite player at Newcastle. But again, we learned today that Newcastle had made an offer to Brentford for Yoane Wissa. The bid was £25 million and it was rejected as soon as it was set in. But Newcastle will continue to pursue that deal. Personal terms with the 28-year-old are not believed to won't be an issue. Then the Congolese international is already back in London to train with Brentford. So he's back in London for talks with his club bosses. Now, I said this, I think last week when we were talking about the Brandon Bomo deal and Yoane Wissa's, Newcastle's pursuit for Yoane Wissa. And I was saying that Newcastle's interest in Yoane Wissa is going to push Manchester United or force their hand into making an acceptable bid to Brentford to close that deal, because in the ideal world, Brentford wouldn't want to lose two of their best attacking players in the same transfer window. However, I also made the argument, for those of you that care to listen enough, that the more good players that Brentford lose, the more the other players may want to leave. First of all, they've lost their manager in Thomas Frank. He's joined Tottenham Hotspur. That's a big hole, He's been replaced with a familiar face to these Brentford players in Keith Andrews, but we know this is Keith Andrews' first managerial job. Initially, he was a set-piece coach at Brentford. So, and he had only joined the club, I think, about 6 months or so ago. Then also, what I did mention is that they had already lost their captain in Christian Nogard. Now, if you lose Brandon Bomo, they had also lost the goalkeeper, Mark Flecken, although, excuse me, I thought they did well to replace that one with by signing Kelleher from Liverpool for £18 million, a very, very good deal. So I made the case that when Brandon Bomo leaves, a player like Yoane Wissa may want to leave because he looks at the team as one that has been poked many, many holes in it. One that has lost its center of gravity. And the key centers of gravity being the manager in Thomas Frank, being in the captain Christian Nogard, being in his player partner in Brandon Bomo, in as far as those attacking forwards are concerned. So it doesn't surprise me that the player has been reported that would favor a move away from Brentford at this stage. Now, Brentford do value the player at £50 million. And that is what they told Nottingham Forest, because it is the other team that are interested in his services. Nottingham Forest had a bid rejected that was under £25 million during the course of this summer. Initially, they had wanted to sign him back in January, but they fell short on the valuation of the player, so they could not do a deal with Brentford. So they tried to come back in the summer, and still their bid was really, really small. So you've had Newcastle who have had their bid worth £25 million turned down. They hope that a deal is possible and they will come back in with a better offer. LFC is back. Good to have you back. Have you been catching? Has it been another movie night with you and your family, or today the circumstances are very, very different? LFC. So, we spoke about this in great length that Liverpool's pursuit for Hugo Ekitike had a domino effect, because that domino effect led to Newcastle turning their attention to Yoane Wissa. When they turned their attention to Yoane Wissa, they forced Manchester United to make the third bid that was eventually accepted, and Brian Mbeumo has left. So in Brian Mbeumo leaving, then you have Yoane Wissa trying to say, look guys, I think grant me the opportunity to leave this summer. So the player has 1 year left to his current contract, I think, with an option to extend it for a further year. How long have you been on the live so far? It's been 46 minutes so far, really, for those of you that have been with us. It's been 46 minutes doing this. So previously we've done longer. So it's still a pleasure to still be with you. Oh, okay, thank you. Anyways, so basically that's what I explained, and that is what I see starting to unfold, that Yoane Wissa would want to leave the club, and that's apparently basically what he's trying to tell Nottingham Brentford is that please accept a suitable bid if it does come in for me. And this was according to Alex Crook of TalkSport, but also reiterated by Ben Jacobs, saying Newcastle set to make, okay, no, we've spoken about that bit, but okay, yes, after they had their £25 million bid rejected, Ben Jacobs came back to say that Newcastle has set to make another bid worth in the excess of £30 million. Meanwhile, Tottenham Hotspurs are also keen on signing the same player. He's been linked with a potential move to Tottenham Hotspurs, and according to the Mirror, I think they did report that the player would love to reunite with Thomas Frank at Tottenham Hotspurs. And given what we've seen go on transpire this summer, I wouldn't be surprised if Yoane Wissa chose Tottenham over Newcastle, because for some reason Newcastle have been unable to convince players, majority of their primary targets, to join them so far in this transfer window. We've spoken about Liam Delap. They had interest. They wanted Joao Pedro. They missed out on that one. At least they landed Anthony Elanga, but they are bound to miss out on James Trafford if, and this is a big if Galatasaray can strike a deal with Manchester City for the transfer of Ederson Moraes, then Manchester City will resign James Trafford with that £40 million buyback clause. So what that would mean that Newcastle once again miss out on their primary target of a goalkeeper in James Trafford. Then away from Joao Pedro and Liam Delap, the other player that they missed out on is Brian Mbeumo himself, because they held interest in Brian Mbeumo, but Brian Mbeumo told all interested parties that he only wanted to join Manchester United. Then, for a very long time, they've been trying to pursue Mark Guehi. They failed to bring him in. I do not know whether they are sleeping on the job, or it's the circumstances with Crystal Palace or with Mark Guehi's camp that have not favored that move to go through. So I really do not know for a fact, but I know they hold interest in Mark Guehi, the same way Tottenham Hotspurs do, the same way Chelsea do, the same way Liverpool do. So let's wait and see how things will transpire. So, in as far as that Yoane Wissa deal is concerned, and Newcastle ought to move really, really fast and find an agreement with the player on personal terms, even though David Ornstein tells us those are not expected to be an issue. Two, they need to really, really negotiate fast and try and reach an agreement with Brentford. Otherwise, Tottenham could swoop in and woo the player away, given that they also have his former manager in Thomas Frank. And when you come with that kind of advantage, usually, it may sort of tip the scales in your favor if you're Tottenham Hotspurs in that case. So That's the expectation. Then also during the course of today, I think we've covered all the main topics. Yes, during the course of today, it is been continuously reported that Liverpool remain very solid candidates in signing Rodrigo Goes from Real Madrid. Now, but like I've told you guys before, that deal is dependent on Luis Diaz. If Luis Diaz does leave the Anfield, then Liverpool will definitely be throwing their hat in the ring to pursue another winger, and Rodrigo Goes is high on that list, but do not rule out their pursuit for Anthony Gordon as well. Then this is according to Ben Jacobs, who says that Raheem Sterling is apparently drawing interest from Bayer Leverkusen and Juventus. Sterling is 2 weeks back into preseason training and working on the basis Chelsea will present him with options. Chelsea willing to sanction an exit for £20 million. Guys, I've said this before. Personally, I do not think, given what we saw of Raheem Sterling last season, that he is worth £20 million. At the very best, he should be going for £15 million. This has nothing to do with the devaluation of the player. But first of all, we can all agree that he is not the player that arrived at Chelsea from Manchester City. He is not that. So suddenly, and we also know he is on high wages. Then, 3, Chelsea are desperate to let him go. They are desperate to let him go. They are willing to take the hit financially or to take the loss on Raheem Sterling, but they want to move him on. Same way they want to move on Joao Felix, who has already agreed to pass on terms with Benfica, pending club-to-club talks and reaching an agreement for the transfer of Joao Felix. So, Liverpool, why don't you take back your legend in Raheem Sterling? Because that's where we first saw him come through the ranks. For those of you that do remember, in that infamous game in which Liverpool, I think, beat Arsenal, was it by 5-1? When Liverpool scored 4 goals in a space of 19 minutes, Raheem Sterling was a nightmare in that game. So Liverpool, why don't you take him back? After all, his replacement, who was Jordan Ibe at the time, equally did not work. I wish LFC was still here with us to tell us why don't they take back Raheem Sterling. Anyways, let's wait and see. But Chelsea do want to move on the player as soon as yesterday. Then also, what other deal have we not mentioned? Another key deal that has made the headlines today. We've spoken about Ekitike, Granit Xhaka. We've spoken about Gyokeres at great length. Then Brighton goalkeeper Carl Rushworth has been given permission to undergo his medical at Coventry City ahead of a season-long loan, no buy option. Then apparently an offer of £5.5 million. A £5.5 million offer for a permanent transfer was rejected earlier in this window. That's according to Alex Crook of TalkSport. There. So, anyways, for the rest, we just have to wait it out. So, then Manchester United, like I told you, they are in for a striker. I think we've discussed that at great length as well. No need to revisit that conversation or topic. But yeah, things are happening. Then we spoke in the morning. We spoke about Pavis Estupinan, on the verge of completing that move to AC Milan. We spoke about Richard Rios traveling to Benfica, to Portugal to complete that move to Benfica from Paramides in a deal worth €30 million. Then also Alejandro Garnacho, Jadon Sancho, Anthony Tyler Malacia, all left out of Manchester United's squad for the pre-season tour. Harry Maguire also not with the team, but only due to personal reasons. He will be back soon. So Sancho, Garnacho, Anthony, Malacia are all up for sale. We've known this pretty much all summer. And the other candidate that was part of this unwanted cohort of Manchester United players was Marcus Rashford, but that one has completed his move to Barcelona on an initial season-long loan with an option to buy for 30 million euros at the end of that, spell. Then also, so I mean, this is it's going to be a little bit difficult, by the way, for Manchester United to move on these players, especially for the fee or for the desired transfer fees that they would have wanted to milk out of these guys or to fetch, from the transfer of these guys. One, because when you publicly denounced these players that as unwanted players, and also you leave them out of a preseason squad, then it's out for the entire world to read that these are unwanted. So basically, whoever comes to buy them, they're going to negotiate with a certain level of laxity, knowing that it's as if, quote unquote, they are doing you a favor by taking any of them off your hands. We know for a fact that Juventus are interested in Jadon Sancho, but those negotiations are not yet advanced, as has been previously reported in some sections. But we'll continue to wait and see. Alejandro Garnacho, Chelsea hold interest. It was there in January. They've just not returned back with the same strength in as far as this transfer window is concerned. But Aston Villa is the other team reported to have interest in Alejandro Garnacho. Let's wait and see. In terms of Antony, where Betis would want to take him back, but the finances may prove a little bit too difficult. Tariq Malacia was out on loan at PSV for the second part of last season. Those ones refused to sign him permanently. So Man United do find themselves in a really, really less ideal spot there. So let's wait and see what will happen in the coming days for that cohort of Manchester United players. Then Atletico Madrid have offered a package worth 20 million euros with add-ons for Mark Pubil. Almeria will retain a future 15% sell-on clause. Then also we'll go to discuss, Pavis Estupinan on the verge of completing that move to AC Milan. Manchester United were also interested in signing the Ecuadorian 27-year-old, but it's AC Milan that won that race for an initial 17 million euros plus 2 million euros in expected add-ons. So let's wait and see. Then this is according to Fabrizio Romano that Hugo Ekitike has completed the main part of his medical tests today as a new Liverpool player, now waiting to sign that contract. Then Werder Bremen and Juventus have now exchanged all documents for Samuel Mbangula, a deal, 10 million euros as fixed fee plus 2 million euros in expected add-ons. Then also Timothy Weah is also in the pipeline to exit Juventus to head out to France. Now, Nottingham Forest had wanted to sign those players, both Samuel Bangula and Timothy Weah, but Timothy Weah rejected the move to Nottingham Forest. Then Napoli have sent a new formal bid for Dani Ndoye to Bologna worth 26 million euros as fixed fee plus 5 million euros as add-ons. Nottingham Forest already offered a 30 million euro fee after Ndoye agreed personal terms and remains also in the race. So Napoli and Nottingham Forest are trying to sign Dani Ndoye from Bologna there in the Italian Serie A. We'll keep our eyes peeled to that deal and see where it leads and how it does progress in the next coming couple of days. Quickly, allow me go through the latest from the world, from the rumor mill, from the gossip, and speculation. We've spoken about Rodrigo, but again, I said any deal for Rodrigo, whether it's Arsenal, whether it's Chelsea, whether it's Liverpool, it's not going to be a cheap deal. It's not going to be a cheap deal. And also in terms of the player, given he's 24 years, very, very good player, he's going to command really, really high wages because apparently he is on 10 million euros as net pay per season at Real Madrid. So that is significantly high. So if you're coming to the UK, where I'm led to believe that taxes are around the 45 percentile plus, then that means you almost need double to give him what he is earning at Real Madrid. But anyway, let's wait and see. But this was again just reaffirming that situation. This is according that Real Madrid is Rodrigo Gyokeres, 24, is one of the candidates to replace Luis Diaz, like we've spoken about at Anfield. Then apparently Alexander Isak wants 300,000 grand a week to sign a new contract at Newcastle. That's according to TalkSport. You know, remember his current contract with Newcastle still has 3 years left to it. He's entered the 3rd year of that contract, so essentially it has 2 years left to it. If you do count this one off. Hello, Mariam Nalmasi. Good to have you on the broadcast. It's always a pleasure. Then we've spoken about Granit Xhaka has already agreed to personal terms with Sunderland. Then Brentford, we've spoken about them having rejected that initial bid for Yoane Wissa. Then Atlanta and Lazio are interested in Manchester United's 22-year-old striker, Rasmus Højlund. Although, like I've told you guys before, Rasmus Højlund's intention is to stay at Manchester United and fight for his place. He wouldn't want to leave Man United this summer, at least not at the moment. Then Atletico Madrid have opened talks with Chelsea over a deal to sign Renato Vieira, with the Blues demanding around £35 million for the 21-year-old Portuguese centre-back. That's according to Fabrizio Romano. While Everton are interested in Bayern Munich's 19-year-old Morocco left-back, Adam Anou, according to The Athletic. Then Wolves are also closing in on the signing of Fluminense's 25-year-old Colombian winger, Johan Arias, and Almeria's 22-year-old Spanish right-back, Marc Pubil. That's Wolverhampton Wanderers. We're talking about the Marc Pubil that Atletico de Madrid are trying to close on. Then Manchester United are monitoring Angers Mali under 20 left back Dani Sinetti. Why would Manchester United be in for a left back when they've just added on Diego Leon to their ranks? Again, take that with a pinch of salt. While Everton are interested in Atletico Madrid's Samuel Lino, with the Spanish club open to offers for the 25-year-old Brazilian winger, Samuel Lino. So that's the latest from the world of speculation in as far as transfers are concerned. Is there anything else that we've not tackled? Any question that I did skip? I do not think so. I do not think so, guys. I think everything does check out in as far as what we ought to have spoken about is concerned for the purposes of this broadcast. Meanwhile, guys, in case you're interested in learning some digital skills like cybersecurity, coding, and web design, then do not hesitate to check out our friends at EboState. You do qualify for a 5% discount if you do enroll with them. That offer is still on. So do check them out and see what course would interest you at the moment, in case you want to learn those skills. I will leave their link down in the description so that you can check them at your most convenient time. But remember, they do offer in-person and online training sessions for their trainees, and they help find for them jobs in the dynamic digital world post-training. So let's wait and see on that front. Then quickly, okay, I think we've discussed it all. Hakan Çalhanoğlu is still being targeted by Galatasaray, but let's wait and see whether that deal will go through. Inter Milan are set to demand, some significant some significant transfer fees for the Turkish international. But let's wait and see. Then, okay, yeah, guys, let's. Oh, Mariam was saying in Liverpool. Oh, Liverpool, we have discussed Liverpool at great length about their pursuit for Rodrigo Gyokeres, who got ticket completing his first part of the medical. The expectation is that he will wrap up his, everything within the course of this week and fly out to Hong Kong to join the rest of the Liverpool squad, to join the rest of the Liverpool squad there for to join officially as a new Liverpool player. Deja is back with us. I hope I've answered. Yes, Deja, I posed a question to you that who is your favorite Newcastle player? Who is your favorite Newcastle player? I do not think there's any comment I missed, guys. I do not think. Okay, we read this one of Philip. Philip's prediction after Arsenal, edging closer to the completing of Viktor Gyokeres said that they will be put fourth as Manchester United on the opening weekend of the Premier League. That will be on Super Sunday. That will be, I think, 17th August, because the league does open on the 15th of August when Liverpool play FC Bournemouth. Deja says, bye bye, bro. It's been a pleasure doing this with you, Deja, and every single one of you. So thank you so much, Bruno. Thank you so much, LFC. Thank you so much, Aldani Ross. Thank you so much, Deja, for being part of tonight's broadcast. Thank you so much, Agafonov, from colleague from Russia. Thank you so much, Philip, for being part of us this tonight. He's an Arsenal fan, and then Deja, of course, is a Newcastle fan, and Shikendija, that's KF Shikendija, the local team that he does support back in Albania. Then also Nova Bro, it was a pleasure to have you. Jonas, always a pleasure to have you with us. Mariam, same goes to you. Thank you so much, guys, for being with us tonight. It's been a pleasure doing this with you. I'll see you guys next time. That's tomorrow morning, to discuss more of the latest from the world of football, from the world of transfers, and some of your favorite teams in the Premier League and beyond. Otherwise, bye-bye for now.